now for It. It is In Tune. Hi, I'm Sue Hewitt.
And I'm Jim Grulich, and we'll be your hosts as we take a look at what's happening inside today's music scene.
We'll visit backstage with Matt Finders of the Tonight Show Band.
And we'll also visit with jazz legend Nathan Davis and hear from the In Tune Band.
Later on, you can play along with our studio audience and find out what you know about music. This is It. Stick around. You might learn something as we take you inside the music.
Sponsored by UMI, United Musical Instruments. This is It.
Welcome to In Tune, the show that takes you inside the music. I'm Sue Hewitt, and with my co-host, Jim Grulich, we'd like to share this time to bring you up to date on what's happening in music.
That's right, Sue. And we'll not only let you hear the sounds of today, we're going to show you how great it can be inside the music. With the help of our music director, Jeff Christiana, and the In Tune Band, you'll get a chance to hear each instrument in action.
We'll visit with Jeff and introduce the members of our band in just a moment. When we come back, I'll take you behind the scenes at one of the most famous studios in show business. Don't go away. It is the place to be.
Many of the instruments seen on today's show are made of brass. Brass is an alloy, which means it is really a combination of different metals. Do you know what two metals are combined to make brass? A, bronze and copper. B, copper and zinc. C, bronze and zinc. Well, Sue, you had a busy week traveling around the country.
I really did, Jim. And I had the greatest time out in California watching rehearsals for The Tonight Show. I caught up with Matt Finders of the Tonight Show Band, and he had these words of advice for people thinking about music.
If you never try it, then you'll never know if you like it or not. And geez, it's not painful. It's a fun thing. It's a whole different social circle. I don't think you can go wrong on that. I would suggest taking up an instrument for anyone.
3, 4.
In addition to playing for The Tonight Show, Matt has enjoyed being a member of many other bands throughout his career. He's found that performing with a group of musicians can be an exciting experience.
It's a great feeling, especially if it's all paying off. If you're all working together and you're creating a sound that's pleasurable, it's wonderful. There's nothing else like it.
Matt will be creating lots more music with his friends in the years to come. He doesn't see himself stopping anytime soon.
Well, let's have Jeff introduce us to the members of the band. Jeff?
Thank you. Playing flute today, we have Nicole and Haley. Now, Haley, I understand you've had a chance to travel a little bit with your high school band. Could you tell me about that?
Sure. Our band marched around the world at Epcot Center in Florida.
Great, sounds like fun. On clarinet today, we have Adrian and we have Monica. Now, Monica, I understand you've done a little traveling as well.
Yes, my high school band marched in the Macy's Day Parade in New York City. It was an experience I'll never forget.
Terrific. Back to our saxophone section. On tenor saxophone, we have Jenny, and then on alto saxophone, we have Andrew and Sean. Now, Sean, I understand you've had a chance to play with a professional musician. Could you tell me how that came to be?
Sure. My freshman year, we invited Maynard Ferguson to come along and do a fundraiser at our school, so we got a chance to play a little with him.
Terrific. In our brass section, we have trumpets. Today, playing trumpet with us, we have Matt and Chris. On French horn, we have Garrett and Carrie. Moving to the back row, our trombone section, we have Kate and Angel. Moving down to baritone, we have Bart. Now Bart, I understand you're graduating this year and you have some plans for next year. What would those be?
I hope to study music education to be a band director.
Terrific. Then moving on down further, on tuba today we have Chris. And last but not least, on drums we have Damon. How long have you been playing the drums?
For about 13 years now.
Great. How old were you when you started?
4 years old.
4 years old. Terrific.
Let's have a round of applause for the entire In-Tune Band. Now, Sue is with members of the audience who have some questions for the In-Tune Band. Sue, who do you have?
Well, this is Erin, and she has a question for our French horn player.
How long do you have to practice every day?
I play for an hour every day in band, and then I practice for a half hour every night, because the more I practice, the better I get.
Well, thank you, Erin. I think we have another question down here. This is Rhonda, and she has a question for our clarinet players.
Why did you decide to play the clarinet?
Because I thought it would be something that I would enjoy. And my band director also told me that it would help me if I wanted to play a different instrument like the flute or the saxophone or oboe.
Thank you, Rhonda. We have time for one last question, and that will come from Genoa.
I heard band takes a lot of time. Do you have time to do anything else?
Sure, band takes time, but I enjoy it. I'm also in tennis and soccer and several clubs at school.
Thanks, Genoa. Don't go away. It is the place to be.
Band instruments are divided into three families: brass, woodwind, and percussion. Most woodwind instruments use a flat piece of wood called a reed to make a sound. Of these woodwind instruments, which one does not use a reed? A, clarinet, B, saxophone, C, flute. You know, music is not only fun, it will help you develop skills that will benefit you in whatever career you desire. Did you know that studies show that students who participate in their school band or orchestra are 52% more likely to go on to college and graduate?
And a recent Rockefeller Foundation study discovered that music majors have the highest rate of admittance to medical schools. So you see, there are many wonderful benefits to learning music.
Besides the fact that it's cool?
Besides the fact that it's cool. Speaking of cool, I visited with Dr. Nathan Davis, Pittsburgh's jazz ambassador to the world. With more than a dozen albums to his credit, Nathan has entertained audiences all over Europe, Canada, and the United States. And when he's not touring, he teaches at the University of Pittsburgh. Here's what he had to say.
La 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 la, breath. La 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 la. So then if I became interested in music probably as a young kid, 9, 10 years old, listening to my mother sing. I actually started on the saxophone. I was living in an area that people call the ghetto. And there were lots of gangs running there. And I think it's very important what happened to me. And that is, once I got involved in music, I stopped going out running around with the gangs. I actually absolutely stopped as a freshman in college. I toured all of Germany, West Germany, all of France, just about all over England, Great Britain, Scotland, Ireland, etc. By being a great musician, you have great opportunities to get into a lot of places that other people couldn't get into. So the bottom line is, Do you want to be hip now and a maybe later? Or do you want to be busy now so that you can be hip the rest of your life?
Right now, the members of our studio audience are receiving music profile scorecards. You'll need these scorecards so you can play along during the next part of our show. Let's take a closer look at a music profile scorecard. At the top, you'll find room to put your name, address, and other information. Go ahead and fill out this part of your scorecard now. After you're done filling out the top part, look at the bottom section. Here, there are pictures of each of the band instruments you've seen to help you remember their names. The flute, the clarinet, the saxophone, the trumpet, the French horn, the trombone, the baritone, the tuba, and the snare drum. Now, take a look at your scorecard and find Part A. Our music director, Jeff, will explain this section now.
In Part A, we're going to test your pitch. Not the baseball kind of pitch, but your ability to pick out different musical notes. One of my musicians will play a note. Immediately afterwards, they'll play another musical note, and you'll need to decide if it is the same note or different from the first one you heard. In Part A, you can answer simply by writing the letter H for higher, L for lower, and S for same. Let's try 2 practice samples. Write your answer for sample 1 on the line provided. Here it goes. Okay, write your answer on the line provided next to sample 1. H for higher, L for lower, and S for same. The second note that was played was the same as the first note, and the answer would be S for same. Here's one more warm-up. Write your answer next to sample 2. The second note you heard was higher than the first note, and the answer would be H for higher. Now get ready to mark your answer for Part A, number 1. Part A, number 2. Part A, number 3. Part A, number 4. Part A, number 5. Part A, number 6. That's it for Part A. Now look on your scorecard and find the section marked Part B. In Part B, you'll hear the band instruments play chords. A musical chord, C-H-O-R-D, is a group of notes sounded together. In Part B, you will hear a chord played, and immediately afterwards, you'll hear another chord. If the second chord you hear is the same as the first, write S for same on your scorecard. And if the second chord you hear is different from the first, write D for different. Let's listen to some samples first. Answer on the line provided next to sample 1. Here it goes. The second chord that you heard was the same as the first one, so you would answer S for same. Here's another warm-up. Write your answer next to sample 2. The second chord you heard was different than the first, and the answer would be D for different. Now get ready to mark your answer for part B, number 1. Part B, number 2. Part B, number 3. Part B, number 4. Part B, number 5. Part B, number 6. That wraps up Part B. Now look on your scorecard and find the section marked Part C. In Part C, you will hear a short melody played by one of our musicians. A melody is a series of musical notes that make up a tune. In Part C, you will hear a tune played on one of our band instruments. This tune will then be played again either exactly like the first time you heard it or different from the first time. Listen carefully and decide whether the tune was played the same or different. If you think it's the same, write S for same on your scorecard. Or, if you think it was different, write the letter D. Here is the first sample for practice. Answer on the line provided next to sample 1. In that sample, you heard a short tune, and then it was played again. But the second time you heard it, there was one note change making the tune different. So you would write D for different on your scorecard. Now listen again for practice. Write your answer next to sample 2. The second tune you heard was the same as the first, and the answer would be S for same. Now get ready for Part C, number 1. Part C, number 2. Part C, number 3. Part C, number 4. Part C, number 5. Part C, number 6. completes Part C. Look on your scorecard and now find the section marked Part D. In Part D, you will hear a rhythm played on the snare drum. Damon will then either play it the same or different from the first time. Listen carefully and decide whether the rhythm was played the same or different. If you think it's the same, write S for same on your scorecard, or D for different. Here's a sample just for practice. Answer on the line provided next to sample 1. In this sample, the second rhythm was the same as the first. So the answer would be S for same. Here's another warm-up. Write your answer next to sample 2. The second rhythm you heard was different than the first, and the answer would be D for different. Here we go with Part D, number 1. Part D, number 2. Part D, number 3. Part D, number 4. Part D, number 5. Part D, number 6. That completes Part D. Now look at the last section on your scorecard marked Part E. This is the moment the band's been waiting for. While they show you their best stuff, think about what band instrument you like the best. Sit back and enjoy this next number, and when we're through, simply mark down in Part E which instrument you might like to play. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now be sure to mark down in part E which instrument you would like to play.
Now, we'll take a short break, and in the meantime, please finish up your scorecards. Make sure you filled in all the information at the top, and then pass in your scorecard.
We'll be right back. The sound of wind instruments is partially determined by the length of tubing through which air passes. The longer the tube, the lower the sound. The shorter the tube, the higher the sound. If you were to unwind the tubing from a French horn, how long do you think the tubing might be? A, 25 feet. B, 12 feet. C, 6 feet.
Well, that's all we have time for. We want to thank everyone for watching and give our special thanks to those at your school who made it possible for you to see us today. Let's give them a big round of applause.
And we'd also like to thank United Musical Instruments for sponsoring our show. And our biggest thanks goes to our music director, Jeff Christiani, and the members of the N-Tune Band.
If you would like to find out more about learning music, ask your school's music director or visit your local music store. Till next time, remember,
Band is it.
1, 2, 3, 4.